Hello, this is Sarah Soiledplant and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something I'm not quite so proud of, and that is that my Calathea, some of them are not doing very well right now. I went through a little bit of a sort of downturn the last few months, maybe like really the last 2 months. Like, I just haven't had the time, energy, sanity really to do everything that I was supposed to be doing as an adult, a fully functioning adult in society. Hi, Maggie. This is actually the first time this has happened. It may be a combination effort of having more plants than I've ever had in my life and being stressed, but either way, my Calatheas definitely suffered. Calatheas are definitely the type of plant that if you miss a watering, if you neglect it even a tiny bit, it tends to act out. And I definitely noticed that some of the leaves were not doing well when I was doing my watering. I cut off a bunch of leaves that were dead, but you can still kind of tell that these plants are not doing 100%, which is 100% my fault. So I want to show you kind of that I'm not perfect. I'm not a Calathea whisperer sometimes, and sometimes it just comes down to, do you have time and energy to take care of the plants? I do think a long-term plan for solving this problem is not necessarily to make myself 100% non-stressed, because that's impossible, but I'm considering putting more of my Calathea into self-watering pots. I feel like the ones that are in self-watering pots or in my humidity cabinets are doing the best. And it is not a coincidence that 3 of the 4 that are not doing great are not in self-watering pots, and none of these are plants that are inside one of my humidity cabinets. I would say if I want these Calathea to do better, I would either put them in the humidity cabinet so that the soil stays moist longer and it has that ambient humidity, which is really nice for them, or put it in a self-watering pot. I don't think it needs to do both. That's kind of like overkill, but I do think that one of those 2 solutions would definitely help out these plants. And I'm just going to start with one of them, which is right in front of me, and that is my Calathea Dottie. I did water these recently, so they're kind of dripping on me. This plant is doing really well considering how upset it's been with me. I feel like every time I go to water it, the leaves are almost horizontal, and they're still not fully upright, even though I watered this probably 2 days ago. It is not doing the best, and I feel like I lose a leaf like every other week on this. And it's doing okay considering, but I have chopped off all of the leaves that basically go bad, and I do have a new one coming up. So it's not like this one's tragic. It's just, you can tell by the leaf pattern how it's kind of splaying out like that this is, sorry, water. The way it's kind of splaying, and it's not really well clustered and put together, and the leaves don't make a lot of sense where they are. They're kind of scraggly. That's a sign that you've been underwatering your Calathea, clearly, because that's what keeps happening to mine. Oh my gosh. Well, problem solved. It's got bugs. It looks like it has mealybugs, which, where in the world did I get mealybugs from? I have not seen mealies in over 2 years. I have not had mealybugs, so I have no idea where this came from. Guess who's getting quarantined and hosed down directly after this video? This one. I am going to stop touching it and then wash my hands. Well, that explains a lot. And I just hosed it down with my alcohol solution mixture. You know, just alcohol, water, and a few drops of dish soap. Good at killing pretty much anything. And that explains also why my little beneficial insects weren't working, because the beneficial insects are tiny and they're meant to kill spider mites and cannot eat something as big as a mealybug. So that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, we'll see how that heals, and then maybe I'll put it in a self-watering pot. Until then, gonna segregate that, make sure it's far away from everything, treat it all the time, see if I can make it survive. That's a real bummer, but that explains a lot, All right, the next one that's not doing the best, while not doing as bad as I've seen, is my Calathea Nada. I feel like this one tends to dry out pretty quickly. It's better at handling being dried out than, say, any of the Rosiopictas, the Dottie, the Medallion. I feel like this handles it better than those. Also Stromanthe. Stromanthe are insanely picky about their watering, for me at least. If I underwater it, those leaves curl up like a little, I don't know, cigar or something, and then they just look so horrible, and then when you water it, half the time they unfurl, half the time they don't. This one tends to do a little better with it. From my experience, it doesn't look quite so dramatic, I should say. It'll still get this, which I've left this leaf on because it's got a good amount of still green left. I could chop this off if I felt like it, but it's fine. It's in a room where I don't see it every day anyway, so if I don't have to look at it, it's fine. But I had a few leaves that were all curled and just laying on the bottom of the pot like this. Not the cutest. And I will say this one was doing a lot better when I had it in my humidity cabinet. It was actually a tent back when I was in my apartment. I haven't reset that up because I wanted something that looked a lot nicer. I would definitely say this growth has stunted since not having it in humidity anymore. I have still gotten new leaves from it, and I've also got 2 new leaves on the way. You know, this one here and then another one. This one right here, it's very little. But I do have new growth coming, which is a positive, and I will take it. Oh, actually, that is not a new growth. That is an old growth that has been cut off. Yep, I was gonna say, that was very floppy for a brand new leaf. Correction, I have 1 new leaf coming, and I do know that's a new leaf. I'm seeing the top of the little flute coming out, so it'll be good. Does this plant deserve to be in a humidity cabinet? Absolutely. Am I gonna put it in one? No. Nope. I don't have a ton of room for taller plants. I'd like to keep my humidity cabinets for small, rare, or things that desperately need it, like anthuriums. Those are always going to be in my humidity cabinets. This, it should be able to survive in my ambient humidity around 45%. It should do okay, so it'll be fine. It's just kind of struggling, and I've lost a few leaves on it recently. This next one is my Calathea Triostar. This is my third. For my third one, I decided to get a big gigantic one because it wasn't too expensive. I think it was $50 for a 10-inch pot, so that's not too terrible, especially by today's standards. Holy cow. I went into a plant shop the other day and just like for gardening stuff and decided to look around. I haven't gone like plant shopping in a long time. Prices have gone up significantly in the last 6 months. It makes me not want to buy plants, which, you know, sort of. I don't want to buy plants. Between the stress and the cost of plants, I don't think I would catch myself buying one anytime soon, and I haven't in a while, so yeah, I might just stick to the ones I have at this point until prices start going down. I'm going to take this off of the ceramic exterior pot just because it's a lot lighter to hold up for you. This one you can tell is not doing great. I feel like on camera it looks better than it does in real life, and I have cut so many leaves off of this. I underwatered it on accident once before, and it was so sad. It did the little cigar, like little flute things, little tulip things. It just rolled up, and everything, it just looked like it was about to die. So the fact that, you know, the leaves that are on here right now look okay is all right, but I've got a lot of this going, I've got a lot of this going on where it's like burnt on corners and tips and edges. This one's really bad. These ones are all curly. I need to cut those off. I must have missed them on my last pass. This one, it's like curling on the very bottom of the leaf where it connects to the stem. Got another one here that's kind of doing the same thing. It's just, this one is like, I need to cut this one off too, but this one is, here, I'll just cut it right now. Yeah, they do this sort of thing where it just curls. A lot of times they'll curl right here, which I hate. And this is a Stramanthes, sometimes Calathea, but I find Stramanthes do this to me a lot. When they're underwatered or like mildly unhappy, they immediately decay like right at the base of the leaf. And it's like, how is a leaf supposed to survive like that? You know, if it curls on the edge, whatever, the rest of the leaf functions just fine, but you're basically cutting off an artery to a limb. So the entire leaf, there's no choice but for it to not do well. And it makes me frustrated, which is why I don't have a ton of Stramanthes. I cut off about, you know, 6 to 8 of these style leaves the other day on this plant when I went to go water it. And it's just, this is one that I'm considering putting in one of these self-watering pots. That is because I clearly can't keep up with it, and this is a plant that I feel like would love to be in a self-watering pot. So this is one that I'm genuinely considering putting in a pot like that. I will say though, one of the few benefits to plants like this when leaves die off and whatever is when you cut the leaf off and it's, you know, you got like a little inch stem that, you know, is still rooted and everything, and it just slowly dies over time. And then when you come back like months later, it's like all dry and crispy and you can just pull it right out of the soil. It's so satisfying. It's like taking off the shrink wrap off of something. It's just so satisfying to my senses. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about. This plant has several. Let me show you one. All right, we're in the soil here. This is a leaf that didn't do well. I cut off the tip because it was dead, but look at this. These little sheaths. Can you see it? Can you see? Oh yeah. I love doing that. That is like my favorite thing. It's the upside of killing your plant. Use another one. Is it gonna go? Is it gonna go? Oh no. When it does that, it's not ready to come out yet, but that's okay. I'll come back for you. After that tangent, the plant's doing okay. I need to put it in a self-watering pot because I clearly am not watering this enough, and I feel like it does dry out really quickly. It did better with infrequent waterings in the winter time, which makes a lot of sense, but it seemed like I never had to water it in the winter time. Like it was just fine all the time. And now, even though I'm watering it on my regular schedule with all the other Calathea, with all my other plants, it's just not happy with it. So I think this needs to go in a self-watering pot. We'll see how long it takes me to actually do that, but I think it needs to go in a self-watering pot. Now, this next one hurts my heart a little bit. It's one of my favorite Calatheas. I love her dearly, and she does look okay now that I've kind of caught up with the watering schedule and trimmed the leaves off. And I feel like this one is not nearly as dramatic as all the other ones, but is my Calathea Warskweski. It went from being perfect with no blemishes to having a few blemishes. I've got a few little marks and things from underwatering. This one up here has the little thing curled. This little base plant here, I had to cut like 3 leaves off of it. It's doing like okay now, but it did start leaning. You can tell like here, when I hold it straight for you, it's like leaning like this. That's because when it was dry, it just started falling over, and I thought I was gonna lose the whole thing, honestly. I'm glad I did not. Also, at the very top of the plant, I am getting another one of these nodes. When I got one of these before, I actually chopped it off and put it directly in the soil, and that's how I got my little baby plant. So this time I'm going to do probably the same thing. There's quite a few leaves on it. There's one. I'm literally squeezing it between my legs right now so that I could have it in frame here. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves and then one on the way. This top portion is actually doing pretty well aside from this little blemish right there, but we're not going to talk about that right now. And so I think what I'm going to do is cut this off and then propagate it. Last time I put it directly in soil and it did okay. I might do that again, but put it in a separate pot this time because this one's going to start getting too crowded. I'm always nervous when I do that. I'll make sure to do it on video for you and document the whole process. But you can kind of tell like this damage, like when the tip, like just when it starts drying out, but it doesn't quite dry out, it kind of gives that weird, like discolored, looks like it's rotting almost. This one kind of did the same thing where it's just like losing color on the very edge. Makes me sad. This one's like that too. It's got little dots. Yeah, you can see the little dots. It makes me sad because this thing was perfect for so long. I think putting it in the self-watering pot really, really helped. And then, you know, I walk in and I find like 3 leaves like this, and it's just like, it's really depressing. So it's certainly doing better now, but also there's another, I've got another one of these. Is it gonna come? Oh, yes. So satisfying. How is that so satisfying? So those are all the Calathea that aren't doing well. I am a big believer in transparency. Like sometimes I want to figure out what's going on when things are going wrong. These ones, it's just me being a bad plant parent, at least to these ones. I've had a few other plants react negatively to my underwatering. So these aren't exclusively to Calatheas, but I feel like Calatheas definitely got hit the hardest. They're the most temperamental when it comes to drying out and not having enough water. So that makes a lot of sense. But I wanted to show you guys not only for, you know, full disclosure, but also to normalize that having struggles with your plants is not abnormal. I've got plants that look really weird. I've got plants that I just threw away in frustration. That's happened to me this year. It's a matter of when you have issues with your plants, not if. Every person who takes care of plants is going to have issues. I was terrible at taking care of plants, especially in the beginning. And the fact that I've kept some of these plants alive for like 3 years is unfathomable to me. Like 5-10 years ago, I would not have believed you if you told me that I was going to have a bunch of plants and actually be good at taking care of them. But it's definitely okay to not be good at them sometimes. At the end of the day, they are just plants, so your mental health is more important than that. Your sanity, your stress levels are way more important than making sure a plant is healthy. And if you ever get to a point where you don't think you can handle all the plants you have and it's just a consistency thing, you're not able to do it, feel free to declutter. I did a video about that last time I posted, was all about decluttering. I still haven't sold them all. I'm trying, but I haven't sold all of them yet. You can get rid of plants that, you know, don't serve a purpose for you anymore, and it'll help get rid of like one extra watering cycle or something like that. It's always helpful. So it's definitely normal and don't feel bad about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more of me, and go ahead and leave a comment. Every interaction helps grow my channel, helps, you know, feed these poor plants. Every dollar goes to a plant in need. That could get my self-watering pot for my poor Stramanthe. That is what you are contributing to when you write a comment, and it's absolutely free. So there's no reason not to. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye!